Hello, welcome back to my channel and to today's video. We're following on from my best purchases of 2024, and as per your requests, today I'm going to be sharing my worst purchases of 2024. Now, admittedly, I did actually find this video quite difficult to sort of write notes on and decide on these items. I'm going to take that as a positive because I feel like over the years I've started to get much better with how I'm spending my money. I'm no longer as frivolous as much, and I think I'm just making better decisions. So that's a yay for me, but nonetheless, I do still have some worse purchases to share with you guys, so let's get started. Okay, so starting off with item number one. Technically speaking, it's two items, but it is the CELINE suit from the Australian brand DISSH. So first of all, the fabric just felt really cheap. Definitely not £165 worth for each piece. Now, you can read what fabric makeup is like before you purchase. I did do this, but it just felt really cheap when it arrived. The cut was not great. It did not look good on me, in my personal opinion. I just really didn't like it. And it irks me that I spent £165 on both of those items, and that's why it is a worse purchase. Now, I think this was probably a me issue because one thing about DISSH is that it's so easy to get sucked in by that overall aesthetic. It is an Australian brand, so naturally it's got that cool girl. All the models are very tanned. They're also very, very slender. And I got sucked in by how this looked on the model. And then when it arrived, I think I was just disappointed that I did not look like the model, which is never going to happen because I do not have a model's figure. I am slim, but I have a very boyish figure. I have no curves, not as tanned as these Australian models. And yeah, it just didn't pan out for me. Now, this suit is currently residing within my spring-summer wardrobe tubs. So in maybe a month or two, when I get around to doing my spring switchover and I dig this suit back out of storage, I will try it back on and I will give it another go, and I will see if there are ways that I can style it and integrate it into my wardrobe. If not, it's going to be sold on Vinted. So for anyone that would like my Vinted information, we'll also leave that down below in the description box for you. Moving on to worst purchase number two, which is a beauty purchase. And I've actually lumped 4 products all together, all from the same brand, which is the Brazilian brand Sol de Janeiro. And I did actually order these all as part of one order, so that's why I've done them as one. Now, I have actually been a fan of this brand of Sol de Janeiro for some time. I love their body butters and I love their hair and body mist. So it's basically like a body spray. So already having a love for this brand, I decided to expand my experience and try some of their other products. So all of these were purchased, I think, in late June, July of last year, ahead of a trip that I went on around Europe. So the first of which are these, they're called Rio Sunset Glow Oils, and this one is called Copacabana Bronze. So sorry, Rio Sunset and Copacabana Bronze are the shades. They're called Glow Oils, £35 each. Utter shite. So when these arrived, I tested out one on just a tiny little bit, as you always do, on the back of my hand, a teeny tiny amount, rubbed it in and was like, ooh, yeah, nice. Because if there's one thing I love, face, body, wherever, I love a shimmer. I love a glow or a shimmer. In summer, I just love it. I'll buy any product that has the word glow in it. Now, what should have been a red flag was the word oil, but alas, here we are. So I think it was Copacabana Bronze that I actually tried one night on this trip around Europe, and it was one evening me and my friend were going out for like a nice dinner, and I decided I had a linen waistcoat on that tied at the front, and I thought I'm going to put this on my décolletage and I'm also going to put it on my arms. I had trousers on, so I didn't put any on my legs. So I was in the bathroom and I just put a few pumps on, started to rub it in. When I started to rub it in, that is the moment where I realised I've made a massive error here. Perhaps I applied too much, I don't know, but I did not like it. And I think it is the fact that it's an oil. It was all over my hands, and then when I came to wash my hands afterwards, funnily enough, it would not wash off my hands. I had a nail brush that I was using to scrub, and so if we then fast forward to that evening when we got back in from our meal and I had to shower, I scrubbed my skin raw trying to get this stuff off. Item number 2, or product number 2, this is the Radiance SPF 50 body lotion. It does also come in like a canister spray variety as well. I'm big on sun protection. I wear SPF 50 every single day on my face, and come summertime, or if I ever have any skin exposed, I use it a lot on my hands, I will always use SPF every single day. Now this got me because, again, this was supposed to have, so it has the word radiance, glow, radiance. I was like, a shimmer. Yes, I'm all over this. No, this stuff is hideous. I put it on my legs because I had some linen shorts on. I put it on my legs when we went out for a day in Turkey. It was terrible. I might have some pictures or videos when we found a little cat to play with where you can see how streaky it is on my legs. It's thick, it's gloopy, it does not rub in, it just sits on top of the skin, which I suppose is good for sun protection, but not a good aesthetic look at all. It just, it made like a really awful white cast on my legs, which is not radiant. That is, it should be called Rio Casper the Friendly Ghost SPF body lotion. Awful, no. Now moving on to my final product from Sol de Janeiro that I thought was absolute crap, and that is the Brazilian Glossy Nourishing Hair Oil. And as the colour would suggest, this has got the, and I don't know how you actually pronounce this, but Cheirosa 62, that's the scent. So if you're familiar with Sol de Janeiro, you know exactly what that scent is. It's definitely one of my favourites, and I thought, despite the fact that the hair and body mist can also be used in the hair, so it gives the hair a nice scent as well, I just thought, you know what, this will smooth down any flyaways and it will give me that gorgeous scent. No, instead it made me look like I haven't washed my hair in a decade. It does not rub in nicely, or it does not evenly distribute, and I put the tiniest amount in my hands, rubbed it all over my hands to avoid getting it sort of in one particular spot, tried just doing it in the ends of my hair. Horrific. No, I would never buy this again. And if you can, obviously you can't really see from this because the packaging is not clear, it's not glass, but I have used this twice, maybe. Once was enough, to be quite honest with you, but the second time I thought I would give it the benefit of the doubt, and it was equally as horrific. Right, let's move on to item number 3. This is the SONOS Roam, I think it's the Roam 2 speaker, and this is, I think, £449, although I believe Simon and I got this on a deal last late spring, I think. Now, we love SONOS. It's actually really heavy, so I'm just going to put it down on my knee for a minute. We love SONOS as a brand. That's not an ad, we've never worked with them, we've never been gifted anything, so full disclosure. So we thought after we had our garden done at the start of last year, we would get one of the portable speakers. So these come in a few different colours. I actually got to pick the colour, so I chose this green colour because it was going to be more of sort of a garden speaker. It's not the sort of thing we leave out in the garden, it is something we bring in, but you can take it and it is designed to be used outside. So we bought this with the anticipation that we would use it loads in the summer season. Now, part of the reason why this didn't get a lot of use might be because last year's summer wasn't particularly great. We didn't have the best weather. We actually didn't have a single barbecue. So that could kind of contribute to one of the reasons why we didn't use it. However, I just think in hindsight, maybe this was something we should have thought about a little bit more. Simon used it a couple of times, but I do not think we got £449 or however much we paid for it. I don't think we got our money's worth out of it last year. That said, it's not something that we're going to sell or anything. We have got it in the house so we can move it to other areas of the house where we don't have one of our individual speakers. And we will give it another chance this summer. Hopefully we will have some barbecues and some better weather. So yes, but it is one of those things that I think we probably could have done without purchasing. Right, item number 4 is a DIY related item. And for those of you who have followed along with our home renovation, you may have seen that last year we decided to redo our gym. It actually spanned from 2023 into 2024. And one of the things that I wanted to do as part of our gym renovation was spray the insides of our UPVC windows from white to black. So in order to do that, I bought a sprayer. It was by the brand, I would call it WAGNER, but it's probably Wagner, don't know, one of those. And it's the W950. It was about £238. And you know what? It was great. It did the job perfectly. I used it for 2, maybe 3 coats. We shared some of that process within the video that we shared about our gym renovation. I also have a couple of reels on our home account on Instagram as well. It was really good. Now, I am one person that does look after tools and equipment and that kind of thing. If something needs cleaning, I will clean it properly. So I cleaned this very thoroughly. I made sure there was no paint inside. I did use a paint that was specifically designed, or not specifically designed, but it was a paint that could be used with a sprayer. I followed the instructions to a T. So cleaned it all out, fine, just left it with the rest of our DIY tools, all safely stored in its box. I then came to use it a few months later for something else in the garden. I think I was attempting to spray a fence or something, and I was filming it at the time. And what I actually saw and didn't realise at the time, because it does make quite a loud noise, but it started smoking in the background and then basically exploded. And it wasn't like a giant explosion, but it just exploded internally in the machine. So I actually bought it from Amazon. I went to Amazon to ask about what is the next steps because this item is broken. I explained that I did not want a refund. I just wanted either a repair or a replacement. They fobbed me off because I was out of my 30-day period and they told me to go directly to the manufacturer. Wagner, you know, the one. So I contacted them via email. I also tried to call them, that didn't work. So I had an email back and forth. They told me to go back to Amazon. And I went through that process 4 or 5 times. I just kept being passed off from one to the other until I got to the point where I was just fed up of wasting time on it and I just gave up. So we were then stuck with this item. We actually took it to the appliance recycling place because it was no use to us. But I would not recommend because I think A, it was terrible customer service just to be passed backwards and forwards, especially when I didn't want a refund. I just wanted either a replacement or to repair the item that I had. I would have even repaired it myself if they'd have sent me a part, but we all know that brands make repairing things difficult these days. So yes, the Wagner W950 paint sprayer, crap. Right, I'm going back to fashion now. I know I'm sort of flip-flopping around various different categories, but item number 5 is a Marks & Spencer linen dress. Now, I bought this maybe May or June last year, and I actually bought it in 2 colours, and it was available in tulle, so I bought it in tulle. So it was beautiful linen fabric. As you all know, I love and very highly rate M&S linen. It's always a go-to of mine year after year. And I bought this in a beautiful neutral colour, sits in with my wardrobe perfectly. And then a bit of a rogue decision, but I also bought it in like a pistachio green. The neutral colour was great. That is by far not a worse purchase, and I will definitely be wearing that again this summer. However, the green And do you know what? I don't even think it looked bad. I don't think it was anything like it clashed with my colourings or whatever. It was just something that I did not reach for. And therefore I'm seeing this as very much reinforcing the point to myself where I just should not veer away from the things that I know. And I know there's always the point of, oh, you know, if you stay in your comfort zone, you know, you won't go whatever. But I mean, this is a dress. I should just not have gone out of my comfort zone. I should have stayed with the neutral and been happy with the neutral and not purchased the green. Now, speaking of repeat purchases, I have another one right here. These are the CELINE TRIOMPHE, because that's the logo, oval sunglasses. I'm going to pop them on. I love CELINE sunglasses. One style in particular, and that is the Baby Audreys. I have been wearing CELINE Baby Audreys, not the same pair because I've actually lost 2 pairs. I'm on my 3rd pair. But nonetheless, I've been wearing that exact style of sunglasses for 8, it could even be 9 years now. But last year, I decided to try a slightly different pair, not a different brand, still staying with CELINE, but I had a pair of the black version of these on my wish list. And they were a pair which I considered, and eventually, I think it might have been around spring or early summertime, I actually decided to buy them, but I changed my mind and I ended up buying the tortoiseshell version because I thought the black were too similar to the black Baby Audreys that I had. There was just black and black. So I bought the tortoiseshell version and I love them. Not quite as much as the Baby Audreys, but for a slightly different shape, yes, love them. So then, again, I went on this trip with my friend around Europe, a cruise, and we stopped off one day in Mykonos. And for anyone that's ever been to Mykonos, you will know that they have pretty good shopping. So we decided to do a spot of shopping. Now, one thing my friend is really good at, and this is down to her own personal budget, she calls it looking at things. Whenever we go away together, Disney or somewhere else, she loves to look at things. And she's always like, can we go and look at things? And I'm like, yeah, of course we can. I struggle with just looking at things because I'm a bit like a magpie. It doesn't necessarily have to be something shiny, but if I see something I like, I'm just like, yeah, I should buy that. Now, as I said at the start of the video, I think I am getting better with less impulsive spending. I'm training myself a little bit more, which is why I use my wish lists. But then when it comes to repeat purchases, this is where I have fallen a cropper with the linen dress and with these. Now, despite this being a worst purchases video, these do get worn. I'm not going to complain about them in any way. They're granted not as frequently selected as my pair of sunglasses for the day as some of the other colours that I have, so as any of the blacks or even as the tortoiseshell, because it is a very specific colour, but nonetheless, they are worn. But I would see these as a regret because they came as part of a dopamine high and I just didn't need them. I didn't need the black pair. I didn't even need the tortoiseshell pair. You don't even need sunglasses. But these were just one of those things that if I could have that 400 euros back, I think I would, because they're almost not worn enough to warrant having spent that much money on them. Now, moving on to my final worst purchase of 2024. Crocs. Now, I was always one of those people that vowed I would never, ever buy a pair of Crocs. And yet in 2024, I didn't buy 1 pair, I bought 2 pairs. Now, first of all, I just want to get it loud and clear. I am not throwing any shade at anyone that owns, wears and loves a pair of Crocs. You do you. I just think if you can find something that is comfortable, you love wearing it, just don't care what anyone else thinks. If you love them, that's the only thing that matters. And there is a lot to be said about comfort these days, especially when it comes to footwear. So with that said, Crocs have been said to be one of, if not the most comfortable pair of, can we call them shoes? They are shoes, aren't they? The most comfortable pair of footwear, if you like, in the world. You know, if medical staff can wear them for their incredibly long shifts, doing that amount of steps a day. So I do understand the practicality of them, and I think I was taking comfort as advice from other people. You know, the general consensus is that they are very, very comfortable shoes. So practicality is why I decided to buy them, and I did not buy the first pair for myself. So Simon likes to mow the grass in his slippers. His slippers are sheepskin. Sheepskin combined with wet grass at any time of year is not a good combination. So I have this really weird sensory thing, and I think it is actually part of my ADHD, where I get very uncomfortable, and I can feel it coming on now, and very like a sensory overload if I see someone else wearing, because there's no way I could ever possibly, but if I see someone else wearing clothing or footwear that is wet or damp, that has water on it of any kind, I just cannot. The thought of me having wet, makes me feel very uncomfortable. So it was a purely selfish reason that I bought him a pair of Crocs. Now, when I was buying this pair of Crocs, I thought these are going to be great for doing the gardening, for mowing the grass, blah, blah, blah. I also do a little spot of gardening here and there, and also going out first thing in the morning when there's morning dew and picking up dog poo. I thought, do you know what? I will get myself a pair for the same purpose, just in the garden, nothing else. So I bought us both a pair. Simon was not thrilled. I was actually a little bit excited, because as much as I hate them, the look of them, I was curious to try out the A, practicality, and B, comfort. So begrudgingly, Simon wore his when he mowed the grass. Got blisters. I wore mine for the first day. I think I was doing some painting outside or something. Got blisters. Has anyone else got blisters from Crocs? I thought this was not supposed to be a thing. I thought they were supposed to be the most comfortable shoe. For the most comfortable shoe, I've got trainers that have never given me a blister, not even on day one of wearing them. So what are the blisters about? Second point, these are obviously a shoe that is waterproof and that are outside proof. So we've left with them being gardening shoes, and I'm sure lots of other people use them as gardening shoes. We left them outside. They've shrunk, and not by like one size, but like 2 or 3 sizes. So they are now useless for both of us because neither of them fit either of our feet. So yeah, and there we go. That brings us to the end of my worst purchases for 2024. If you have got a worst purchase of last year that you would like to share, especially if it's a pair of Crocs and you've had the same issues as us, please, please let us know down in the comment section below this video. But for now, all that's left for me to say is thank you as always for watching, and I will see you next time.